Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Take Two Radio. This is Pam, your host, and joining me today is my good buddy and co-host, David. And David, I think we have spooks in our studio.
Yes, and it's early.
I know. Normally I have to push that intro button to start the music, and all of a sudden it just started by itself. And those of you that don't know, David and I are on Skype at the same time as we do the show, so we don't talk over each other. And I just asked him, did you push that button? And he said no. So either that or James, our guest, has a very long arm.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and welcome
Two
James
very
C.
long
Burns. Oh, boy, that was really strange. So, James, did you do it?
Of course I did it.
Yeah.
I have friends in many places, and I have them playing with your control board right now, so
Is that
behave
what
yourself.
it is?
Yeah, behave yourself.
Boy, and no forewarning either. I think you're doing a Marine thing, just a surprise attack.
Technology, baby. It's all about technology.
Yeah. Well, as I started to tell you before we went live, I'd like to go ahead and let our listeners know who you are, because some people may not have listened to our last show and may know your name but can't figure out exactly how, and may know your face and may not know how, and you know how that goes.
Yes, I do.
So when did the acting bug bite you?
The bug? Wow. I kind of arrived here by accident. I have no other life skills, so I just had to. That's all I can do. I don't know. It's a strange little journey. I was a professional hockey coach and player up until 2004, and then I decided that I really got sick of kids changed. I changed. The kids changed. And I didn't enjoy it anymore. So I just, what's a washed-up jock going to do? Be an actor. Why
not?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, because it's such a safe and secure profession that there's so many safety nets around you when you do this thing. So
yeah,
I like
definitely.
I like the constant self-abuse you get at being an actor.
Yeah.
like being an athlete,
Yeah. One's physically and one's mentally, I guess.
Well, kind of both, actually, in my case, because a lot of times it's just about it takes a high amount of energy to do this thing, especially when you do roles like I do, a lot of action roles.
Yeah.
And you can be on set 18, 19, 20 hours, and and the thing about when you're when you're on camera, you got to perform. You can't just you can't phone it in. If you do, it's there forever. And believe me, I have some performances that I would like to have back. There's some movies I've done. Oh my God, please, it's there forever, man. So you got to be careful that when you step up, you have the energy to do the job right. Because if you don't, people will see it until you die. And then some.
Right? Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you too. How you felt you have grown as an actor since you first started.
In all honesty, I think I'm doing the same thing I've always done for the last. I've only been in the business maybe about 10, 12 years. Only the last 5 or 6 where I've really been what I'll call a professional actor. I think I'm just more comfortable now. I don't think I do anything different than I did 10 years ago. It's just that you become known for. It's like trust. When you have evidence you can do a role, then people trust you to do that role, so you have more opportunities. So it's just, I think I'm just more comfortable in what I do, and it's more fun, just because I'm not just worried about things.
Right, exactly. Just like anything else that you're first learning, once you get the hang of it, then you don't think about it so much anymore. You just do it.
Well, I've had the same approach since I started, which is based on a whole athletic mentality, preparation, research preparation, execution, and I take every project on the same way. I do a lot of homework. I spend a lot of time knowing, being a professional, getting to set. I mean, you can mess around and have a great time on set if you deliver. If you don't deliver, you're going to have a hard time. So I like to walk in. I kind of like to see myself as like a Peyton Manning of actors. I just come in over-prepared, over-ready. It's probably a horrible analogy because he's way out of my... Anyways, it's like that. The approach is you come in so prepared. You're over-prepared. You have every eventuality covered in your head. So when things happen that you're not expecting, you have resources to fall back on. You can have things happen where, they change the scene from being inside a van to being on top of a cliff someplace. You got to be able to make that adjustment, even though it's not yours to make. Well, adaptability comes from preparation.
Exactly. And you did a lot of stunt work. I mean, how do you prepare for that? Is it just a lot of practicing?
Well, I don't. I'm not a stunt man. I do my own stunts. Again, because I have an athletic background, I stay in shape, and I do tumbling, and I do a lot of, stay fit. That allows me to do my own stunts. But I'm not a stunt man per se. Right. No one's ever going to hire me as a stunt man. But when I take on a role that requires stunts, by all means, I'll do it. That's because that's part of my performance. So I have to have some stunt. I've got stunt training. I've done extensive amount of work as doing stunts, but I don't sell myself as a stunt guy. It's not. It's a whole other profession.
Yeah. I mean, do you enjoy doing your own stunts?
Oh, my God. Yeah, it's great. Come on. The fights and the weapons work, and you jump off of buildings, you drive cars. I mean, that's the best part of this business is you get to play with the toys and do really cool stuff. It's a playground. And again, if you're an ex-jock or an old jock, that's kind of stuff that's second nature. Body awareness, body control, timing. Interacting with other athletes. It's the fun part of the day. Now, granted, you get beat up for 10 hours. Sometimes you get hit pretty good. There is a little bit of downside, but for the most part, it's a lot of fun.
Well, which role would you say taught you the most as far as skills or anything that you may have changed, even though you say you pretty much stick to what you started with?
Well, I think I'll say that it's the roles that have embarrassed me that I've learned the most from. There's certain roles I see, and there's certain movies that are out there, and I cringe because I know the performance is terrible, and I know because, oh my God, what was I thinking? And those are the ones that educate you. Your massive failures are the ones that educate you on what not to do. Or, God, I wish I had done. It's more about regret. Oh my God, if I had just done this a little bit longer, or if I just had done this instead of that. It's the regret of you could have done so much more with the situation had you been better prepared or had you thought differently about it. So those are the roles, and there's a lot of them. I mean, I've been in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of projects, so I can't really say one. I can just say that I know the feeling that when I look at myself, oh my God, I could have done so much better than that. Those are the ones that bother me because you don't get it back. Once you do it, it's there, it's done. There's no second take on life,
Exactly. And, I know that I've spoken with a lot of actors and a lot of musicians, that have said, oh, I wish I would have done something differently. But you learn from it and then you go ahead and you put that into your next role, or your next, album or whatever. And it's everything is going, everybody goes through a learning phase no matter what they're doing.
Well, I think your entire career is about learning. If you stop learning, you get stagnant. So every job you're on, you bring everything you know to it, and then a new circumstances challenges you to rearrange your thinking. Or there's always something you're going to do differently because every moment you change, from job to job. Each experience changes. I just got back from Japan. I was on a job there for 4 weeks, and it's totally changed the way I see the job now. I mean, the Japanese do things in a much different way, and I love their intensity and preparation. So I gathered a lot of insights into an alternative way of making movies and being in this business. The Japanese have a whole different take on things. So it's great. It's having the freedom to just absorb new environments. I mean, there's always young kids coming up with great new ideas or old guys with great new ideas. So just be open to new ideas, react to it. Read and react, baby. Read and react.
Yeah, definitely. David, I think you had a question?
Yes, it is, sir. Who or what are the three main influences in your career?
Who or what are the three main influences? God, there's such a broad question. Other actors, and I mean everybody. I watch guys like Ed Harris, Clint Eastwood, George Clooney. I just watch everybody who does what I want to be doing. I study them voraciously. Directors, because I'm moving to the directing realm. I'm a big Kubrick fan, and I'm a fan of. I've watched Chinatown maybe 100 times.
Wow.
I watched Apocalypse Now 20. I mean, there's certain things I beat in, and for me, Chinatown may be the perfect movie in my mind. I mean, if I can watch it forever. There's a certain level of an eternal story that never gets old. It was directed so well acted, so well written. John Huston. Oh my God! I mean, there's just you look. There are so many opportunities to be educated, to be moved. Again, there's so many. Who has really reached out and touched me. The first big break I've ever gotten was a guy named Mark Teschner. He's a casting director at General Hospital.
Yeah.
And
yes.
Mark out of the blue, I've known Mark for years. I knew from back in New York City in the 80s. He called one day. He says, "I got this part for you. Are you interested?" And I go, "Yeah." And it turned out to be a 2-year gig on General Hospital, and it wasn't an audition. It wasn't anything except that I had done my due diligence. I had taken jobs. I'd built a demo reel. I'd put myself out there, and it happened to be the right role, and I was the right guy at the right time, and it was an offer. Came in, and next 1 week I'm on a plane going to New York. Next week I'm working on General Hospital here in L.A. I mean, it happens that way. It just comes out of the blue sometimes. And so he was the first person who really gave me just gave it to me. He gave me an opportunity. I mean, it was a gift, and I'll never forget that. So I would say the first person who really touched me in the business like that was Mark Teschner. Boy, that came out really wrong. The guy who touched me, that really came out wrong. That is such a horrible way to put it. That will cost me. And so that's why I hate doing interviews. I just see open mouth, shirt foot.
Well, we would have never thought it if you didn't say it.
Well, it shows where my brain goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I'm so involved in the Twitter universe and the 140 character conversation that these little things. This is what this would be picked up if we were like on a YouTube thing. It's like something we've been picked up and basically turned into this whole Burns says General Hospital casting touched him. Like, oh God, I can just see the way these things blow up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I could just picture that.
That would happen. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be careful how you phrase things in 140 characters because they definitely can be taken out of context. That's for sure. And people read tones differently than when they hear you say something, versus that.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, of course, we know that you are huge in Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2 as Sergeant Frank Woods. Let our listeners know how you got that.